skyrocking my career to my destiny. Let none stop me, get the best of me. We the chosen ones, what's selectory?
All right.
Hello, everybody, and Jason, and I guess, I don't know, let's get this, like you said, let's get this party started. What exactly party is this?
This is a trajectory party.
A trajectory party. Okay, so this is the inaugural podcast for Trajectory, and I guess you got to start somewhere, right?
We do. So I guess today we will be talking about artificial intelligence, the impacts that it's having, because it's a big topic, and especially for business and I guess for life in general, right?
Yeah. Yeah, everybody knows about artificial intelligence, and most people use it in some way, but there are still those laggers that really have no idea about ChatGPT, what to do, how it works, and all that stuff. So I feel like we're in the forefront, but we've used it for a lot of different things. So I think this should be a good conversation for the lagger and the innovator and everybody in between.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I mean, what kind of prompted this topic was, yesterday's news of that new super chip, the Willow chip that was coming out with Google.
Can't believe
That
that.
I think it said something takes minutes that would take 10 septillion years for a supercomputer to do. And it's specifically positioned for AI. So our future is pretty going to be pretty interesting. I mean, it's going to disrupt everything.
Yeah, I don't even know how to wrap my brain around that, because you figure, normally, like, I think Moore's law is like you're doubling your capability every 18 months, but this just blew everything out of the water, because if that chip can process that fast and those many and that many algorithms or that many calculations, I mean, it's going to be able to do I don't even know how to wrap my head around them.
Well, the thing is, what's crazy about it is they're actually using AI to improve itself, right? So the more powerful the AI is, the faster it's going to improve. So once they kind of implement this kind of stuff, then who knows what it's going to be able to do in the next year, 2 years, 10 years, right? So that's why we really need to have these conversations, because especially if you're a business or you're in the workforce or just, a citizen living your life, it's going to be part of your life regardless.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is that we do need to talk about this, because it is in our face every day. Like, so normal people need to understand what this is, and be able to at least, use it as a beginner, because I feel like what this technology does is it allows a beginner to operate like somebody who's advanced, basically. But you just got to know where to go.
That's definitely the case. It's leveling the playing field, but almost to the point where even people who have never played the game now can act like professionals. You know what I mean? It's a completely different game. Um, it all started with, like, just content writing, people writing articles. What's funny is actually originally when people were talking about AI not taking jobs, everyone was afraid that it was going to take jobs, but they said, oh no, creative jobs, things like that will never be touched. But literally the first application for AI was creative, creating pictures, creating content, stories, songs. That was the first thing that I was able to do. So that just kind of opens your eyes that it really has a capability to disrupt everybody. It's
Yeah.
any type of job. And then when you tie it in with robotics and automation, I mean, literally almost anything has a chance to be disrupted because of it.
Yeah. I mean, I picture a computer or a robot planting a garden, harvesting the garden, cooking the vegetables, serving us dinner, cleaning the plates, tucking us into bed at night. Like, we're really on the verge of all the futuristic movies that we see.
It's going to be crazy. I mean, that's not that far out. Because, when we talk about that kind of stuff, we're thinking, oh, 20 years, 30 years, but we're probably going to see that in the next few years, which is insanity when you think about it.
And Elon Musk's or robot, what is it, Optimus or
Yeah,
Prime or
the
something like, what's it
Optimus.
called?
Yeah, the Optimus. Yeah.
Optimus. Okay, and then didn't you have a no? How many? He's planning on manufacturing a whole bunch of those.
Well, it was crazy numbers. Like he said initially that the goal was to make 100 million robots, and that was what they were planning on doing. And well, first off, the that type of technology, like when we looked at it like a decade ago, it was that type of thing would cost you like $1 million per robot. They're so advanced, but he's making it so they'll be cheaper than the cars that he sells. So, which means anybody can afford it. You know what I mean? I'm sure they'll have
Oh
some
man.
financing plan where you could pay like $300 a month and have your own robotic slave at your house, basically. But
Yeah,
his new number, he just he's kind of spouts out these things once in a while, but he was talking about billion now, a billion robots. Like that's a major impact, major
Mhm.
disruption, right?
That's crazy. Our whole life is going to be completely different.
Yeah. And so I mean the big thing to realize, and I was just telling you the story about my son. He's
Mhm.
he's very good at following rules. And in his for his English paper, he's a high school student. He um, he was told not to use ChatGPT. All schools, they're having a problem with AI, right? So um, he followed the rules, and it takes him hours and hours and hours to do the assignments that he's given. And I say, "Oh, can't you ChatGPT that part?" He's like, "No," like adamant. I've never used ChatGPT. He's very stubborn like that. Well, which is good because that's the rules, right? Except the fact that all his friends are using it, everybody else is using it. They're getting stuff done in 5 minutes, which takes them 5 hours. They're out playing basketball, hanging out, and he can't because he's doing the work. When they're in the same class, because they're using ChatGPT. Yes, they're breaking the rules, but it's crazy is there's all these tools out there to detect AI. But if you know how to prompt it properly, you can make it, hey, write it in the form of, a ninth grader and add a few grammatical errors. And once you do that, now it's kind of undetectable, right? So they're getting smart on how to do this, and then they're getting stuff done really quickly. Um, so the point being is that if we don't learn to integrate this in our life, even though we may be totally against it. And that's another thing that we could talk about is like the ethics of it, right? But
Mhm.
regardless,
Slippery
there's
slope.
regardless in the game of life, especially if you're in business, there are your competitors or other people out there who are fighting for the same jobs as you that are utilizing AI. And it's almost inevitable. It's almost going to be to the point where if you're not using AI, then you're kind of antiquated. You
Hmm.
like they're going to be searching like even right now in the job market. I see posts where people are saying, especially in development, like in software development, people are saying, well, it makes it so much faster to use AI to code some stuff. So we want to make sure all the new developers use AI to help them so they can produce things faster. So it's almost a requirement in some jobs.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, that's kind of the ethical question. I mean, where's the value of skill versus the value of what you've been educated on and learned versus somebody who's never done it now using ChatGPT and being in the same level as you? Like, is that ethical or is that just evolution?
Or is it practical?
Or is it practical? I mean, every business owner is going to want you to be more efficient and more productive, right? So if you're able to use
Mhm.
a tool, then that's kind of the way that you have to go?
Yeah, it's like, we've been working with hammer and nails and now to build a house, right? And now there's a 3D printer that you just push a button. It's literally that far advanced compared to us. Like earlier today, there was a 1,000-page contract that somebody sent me that would normally take me a long time to read, right? Because I got to read, I got to take notes, I got to make sure that I get the gist of what it's all about. I uploaded it to ChatGPT. I said, give me some of these parameters, summarize it, list these particular items, and let me know if X, Y, and Z. And literally, just like that, here comes the report. And instead of 1,000 pages, it broke it down to basically a page, said these are the things to be aware of, and here's the synopsis. And it was done in seconds. And now, I had time to go get a coffee and get my feet rubbed. Not really, but that would have been nice. But I would have had the time to, right? And all this other stuff. Whereas it is a huge help in efficiency, yes, but time management. If you have a lot of reading that you have to do, or you have a lot of laborious, whether it's reading, writing, or researching or something like that, it literally takes seconds to do something that would take you hours. So why would anyone not want to utilize that?
Absolutely. Now, I mean, the ethical side, I mean, how do you feel about that? Knowing that, what you basically did is you replaced somebody with legal experience, somebody that probably went to school for 12 years to figure out how to do all this stuff. And you, within 2 minutes, basically replaced him, right? And not only that, replaced his, $400 an hour retainer, which is, that's very disruptive, right? But I guess because there's a lot of people out there that are against AI. They don't want to use it
Yeah.
because of the principle, because it's replacing jobs and displacing people. But I
Well,
mean,
well,
what's
not
your
only
thoughts on
that
that?
though. Well, but it's not only that. I think the idea that everything that's ever been input right into, whether it's, I don't know if it's basically that's on the internet, right? It can go out, and this is how I understand it. It can go out and basically gather up all that information and has access to right now. It already knows, like it's that fast. And how could we possibly compete against that? It's like having an Einstein, but in every single topic out there.
Our business has I guess evolved into AI. So I've been doing software development, digital marketing for 20 years. And the reason why I felt it important to focus on AI, regardless of the feelings of you know what this is going to do to the world, is essentially I honestly believe in the next 5, 10 years that my industry is not really going to exist without AI. That it AI will have the ability to do software development. AI will have the ability to market everything that you need to market. Um, it really is going to disrupt my industry, and I love what I do. So really, in order to be able to be relevant, in order to be able to help the clients to the max potential, you have to integrate AI. So that's why I kind of dove into AI and wanted to provide a service as far as helping businesses figure out how to integrate AI, because a lot of people, aside from ChatGPT, they don't really understand like what it could do for their business. Because yes, you can save time by having somebody type in, if you're doing marketing, create your marketing emails with AI, look up stuff. But the power really comes is when you create some sort of custom process or software that utilizes AI, that's tailored for your business. A lot of times, you know, just a client of ours, just down the hall, he's saving probably six figures just because an AI system is now doing the work of somebody that he hired before. And that's the ethical part, right? Is that it's replacing jobs. It is. But if you don't, how do you compete and how do you stay relevant as a business, or how do you make sure that you're still going to be around? Because if all your competitors are utilizing AI, then they could cut down the costs, and then now you have a disadvantage, right? So really, I mean, it's we have to get over that hump of the ethical side because it's inevitable. Elon talked about a long time ago about limiting AI. stopping the progress of AI. But the problem is it will never happen because the fear is for our safety. Because if we stop developing AI, so we say we signed the petition like he wanted to, and everybody puts a stop on AI. But then there's somebody in another country that is going against that, and we don't know, that's in the shadows, that it's developing the AI for years after we said to stop. The advantage that they have, the power that they have, is so, I guess, out of this world that we have no choice but to continue it. So it's unfortunate, but it's going to be something that we're going to have to live with. There's no stopping at this point. And because of that, in business, there's going to be no stopping your competitors and the people that you're competing with to get jobs from using AI. It's not going to be a fair playing field. The only fair playing field that will exist is if everybody is utilizing AI. And the ones who can do it best, the ones who know how to integrate it, the ones who are integrating it, like for business, the more specific you integrate it for your business, which means you're developing something custom utilizing AI versus somebody who's using ChatGPT, now you have that advantage. And that's really the only way to kind of to win at the game these days.
So, okay, for example, there's a couple of things that come to mind, but one thing, if everybody has access to the internet and they're using ChatGPT and it has access to everything, are there ways where maybe I develop strategy, I develop protocols, I develop something that is specific to my business that is beneficial to the industry, but I don't want my competitors to know about it. So is there a way I can build something, utilize the technology of AI to help, cut down costs, make it more efficient and all that, but then guard it so that my competitors aren't able to plug into what I've built? Can you do stuff like that?
So realistically, I mean, the AI component itself is, especially because, like ChatGPT, OpenAI, it's an open platform that everybody can access, right? And the more that develops over time, the more robust it's going to be, and everybody has access to that feature. Really, the only thing that you can do to protect your business is the actual process of what you're using it for. And the only way you can do that is to have a custom like software solution that's doing things on the back end. That's not just typing a bunch of stuff on ChatGPT, because anybody could do that. But if you have a software that's close-ended, nobody has access to the code of your software, nobody has access to the algorithms and what you're actually putting together, then the process of how you're using the AI, what type of things that you're actually doing with it can be secure. Not to say that if somebody doesn't discover it, that they wouldn't be able to figure out some sort of way, but the more unique the approach, the more, just like anything, it's almost like, if you had a patent on something, if something's more original, the more original the idea, the more complex it could be, and the more proprietary it is, and it's the more impossible it will be to replicate that process. You're still going to be integrated with AI, but that whole process is going to be something that people don't have access to. And that's really, yeah, I mean, so that's really the only way to make something unique, because, in the past, software not only is something that makes a business more efficient, but it makes a business more valuable. If you're, say, for instance, using like a third-party app or website that everybody has access to manage like your day or manage your operations, it really doesn't affect the evaluation of your company, right? But now if you have a software that's built specifically for you, that's built to run your organization, when you evaluate a company on how much it's worth, it's multiples because of the technology stack that's behind it, just because you have that custom application. So it's going to be the same thing with AI. Everybody has access to AI. Everybody can use ChatGPT, but using ChatGPT is not going to improve the worth of your business. Having a proprietary software that's utilizing AI, but that software is yours, that's going to increase the value of your company.
Got it. Yeah. And that's what my next question was going to be is
Yeah.
like, when you talk about AI leveling the playing field, why, and we're into AI, developing AI solutions. Well, why would you use somebody like us if he can use whatever it is straight chat GPT because it's leveling the playing field? Why would they come to, somebody like us? But yeah, so one of those answers you just gave us, and that is it increases the value if you have specific software for your company. Is there any other reason why somebody would come to a company like ours to help them with AI solutions instead of just typing it up on ChatGPT? Hey, ChatGPT, help me with this, design this, create that.
So the biggest part is, I think we kind of pride ourselves on the ability to problem solve, right? And that's where we, kind of thrive and shine, is that we're able to solve problems with AI that a lot of other people or a lot of other companies probably wouldn't even see the potential. So the first off is we can tailor something that will help them that maybe they didn't even know AI can help them with. There's a lot of things that will allow them to save money, allow them to save time, make more money, get more clients. And thinking outside the box and finding solutions is the number one reason why I think people should work with us. But not only that, is that it's sometimes it's not even you, yeah, maybe you're cutting half the time by using ChatGPT, but it's possible if we create a custom solution, it'll cut the time by 90%, right? You can automate a lot of these things instead of having somebody type it in ChatGPT and run it. So even if it is something that you can do with ChatGPT, you could probably save even more time, make it more organized, make it more streamlined if you develop something custom around that. But most likely, it's going to be something that you haven't thought of or something that ChatGPT can't do on its own. Even though it could do a lot of stuff, it can spill out a lot of information. It's limited by a lot of things. It doesn't do automations. Like it can't send out emails. You can't like dial the phone. It can't do all these things on its own, right? So, and that's things that we can help it do. We can use AI to figure out stuff, but integrate it in a way that it's actually going to execute on something and do it on its own instead of waiting for somebody to type it in ChatGPT.
Right. So automation is a huge thing.
Automation and and just seeing how it can help. I mean, that's the first thing that we want to do is just talk with our potential clients, just have a short conversation, see where their bottlenecks are, where their pain points are, and we can figure out where AI can fit into that basically in their business and see what is going to really make an impact. You know, sometimes
Yeah.
ChatGPT may 20% cut down the time. It could be 90. So it's really depending on what it is. A
Well,
custom
I
AI
see
solution could be a lot more. Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. Where I see it is, somebody could actually, yes, we could improve their efficiency. They could improve it by 50%. Maybe we can improve it by 90% because of the other things that we've, experienced, and we can apply those things to this company. But the other thing is, not only would it make it more efficient, but the processes that they do could improve. So it's not only being more efficient at those processes, but it's being more effective. So you're creating processes that are more relevant, that are more time based, that are more effective in the end. So now you're having more effective and more efficiency, like compounding each
Yeah.
other. So I do feel like, any business, if I had any other business out there, I would for sure be looking at this as a tool to help me make more money and spend less time. How I see it, most people's dream, they want to be sitting on a beach with their laptop, maybe if they have to. They don't even want a laptop. They want to
No.
be sitting at the beach, drinking a margarita or, whatever it is that you drink, whiskey, rum and coke. I don't know, whatever. You can have whatever you want, right? But not worrying about the business because it is making money and it's working itself. And I feel like right now we're really on the cusp for a lot of people to be able to create that for themselves.
Yeah. And I think going back to the other question of why work with us, I mean, that's really the advantage that we have is, we have a background not only in the technology side, but a lot in the business operations side, right? So it's
Yeah.
you need to have that business acumen to be able to recognize where AI could be used, not just the knowledge of being able to code software and know what the technology is. It's a full package. And even if it's segmented, if you have somebody that's really good at business and another person that's really good at technology, it doesn't always translate to be able to see those patterns. They almost have to be in one, and I think that's an advantage that we have for sure. Um, but I mean, going back to the original question, I mean, because a lot of the backlash that AI is getting is that this is really just going to ruin companies because it's going to take away jobs, take away company culture, right? Um, but I mean, even if you don't own a company, if you're just in the workforce trying to apply for a job, I think almost everybody is using ChatGPT to write their resumes right now to make it sound 10
Yeah,
times better and
no doubt.
make it sound like they're a Nobel laureate when like you meet them, they like, did you pass the sixth grade? But why does it sound like you're a rocket scientist in your resume? You know what I mean? So there, but is that a bad thing or a good thing? Because yes, they didn't write it on their own, but does that really matter anymore? Well, I mean, what do you
Right.
think? Yeah.
Yeah, it becomes an ethical thing, right? Also, because if it's like catfishing, right? People that are trying to look a lot more sexy, or they take a picture of someone else and they act like that's them. Like, yes, they're going to get more attention, but then at the end of the day, when the rubber meets the road, it's not actually them. They were trying to be somebody else. And in, a lot of our trajectory meetings, we've talked about the power of authenticity, right?
Hmm.
So yes, you can imitate and duplicate other things, but and it will give you attention that will get you, across some gates, but the power of authenticity, I think, is more powerful in that if you have somebody that is authentic, right? And so, but again, now where's the line? What is authentic? What is authenticity?
It,
Because where does yeah, and that's a whole nother, I
well,
think
this is
that's
the
a whole
thing.
nother
Right
conversation.
now, it's like if you're catfishing someone. So just imagine this: you're catfishing someone.
Uh,
You're a solid three, and you have a picture
mm,
of a 10, but there's some sort of technology that you could put a suit on and push a button and you look like that in your pictures online. You meet somebody in person and you actually look like that. And it's a but I mean it's the same thing with like plastic surgery and stuff, right? It's the same idea. But
mhm.
the concept of using AI is that it's not that yeah, they're lying on their resume or not lying, but they're making it seem like they're smarter than they are. But the thing is, they can continuously use the AI. So technically, they can fulfill the promise of doing that because they'll continuously use the AI to do their jobs. You know what I mean? Because it's not only for like writing like papers. Like I told you about the experiment I did. So what I did was I created these avatars in AI. One was a CEO, one was a chief marketing officer, one was a chief financial officer, one was a chief revenue officer, and I had them all talk to each other like a board meeting, and I gave them basically the framework of what the company was, and just had them go and talk to each other and respond. And I had to turn the thing off because it went so crazy because it was creating these like hundreds of pages of like plans and how to execute and all this. So, but that's next level stuff because it's imitating not only a CEO or a CMO or a CFO, it's imitating the world's best that it could find. So like you can tell it to mimic the style of like Steve Jobs and then, integrate his creativity, in a meeting, right? So it's also explaining how to do things. So even if you have no experience and you're basically put all this experience on your resume. You literally could push a button and it'll give you the step by step of how to do what you need to do. And if you don't understand it, you say, hey, write it in sixth grade vernacular. And now it's going to explain it
Yeah.
to you as a sixth grader. And you're like, oh, now I get it. Right. So like the catfishing, if you showed up and you actually looked like that, but it was fake, but you show up and you actually could do this job because you're using AI, I don't know where you draw the line. Doesn't matter if
Yeah.
what you produce
Well,
is
then
that
you're
level, right?
authentically, yeah. Well, then you're authentically inauthentic. So
Exactly,
you still have
exactly.
authenticity.
You're authentically inauthentic, and that's probably the world that we're gonna live in. Is everybody's authentically inauthentic, right? Um, and it's a horrible thing, but we need to prepare. Um,
Yeah, and I think that's where, also trajectory comes in, is that when we meet in person, and I feel like, with new technology and, new ways of doing things, there are going to be new problems. But one of the problems that is out there is isolation, right? Because if you're behind a computer and it's doing everything, you don't get that human interaction. And I feel like it's such an important part of our life, of our human experience, is that we need interaction. And if you don't get interaction, you are very susceptible for depression, for anxiety, for all kinds of just horrible things. And then once you get like that, then you start having health issues, and then it all compounds on each other. So I feel like another aspect of this technology of AI, of the whole landscape and ecosystem of what we're doing and what we're part of, we need to be aware that human interaction is an integral part of the human condition, and that we need to develop things to continue to connect with each other and help each other and call each other out, or whatever it is. So I don't know how we're going to facilitate that, but I mean, I guess we're going to try tonight, right? Every Wednesday we have our trajectory meeting. So that's one way.
Absolutely. Um, it's gonna be interesting. Our future is gonna be interesting. I mean, I think if you want to invest in something right now, you want to invest in disconnected retreats. Basically create a retreat where there's zero technology, and then all the millionaires and billionaires are going to want to go there because to get that connection back. Initially like Facebook, and Facebook's the idea was to connect more people, and it did at the beginning. It was all about like, hey, I can connect even more because now that I re got myself connected with my old classmates, now we could go hang out in person. But it's evolved eventually to the opposite, where it's like we're so connected, we're disconnected. We just see everything on a screen and we never do anything in person. So that I think AI might have that same potential, especially with VR and the power of virtual reality and AI. It's people are just going to be able to lie down and put something on their head and think that they're in like think they're in Bali and have a vacation and be completely content with that, and that's going to be sad. Um, but yeah, I mean, yeah, the whole idea for this is to kind of create the awareness, let people know like our views on it, but we really want to hear your guys' views too. So, if you check out trajectoryglobal.com, you can add yourself into this conversation. We want to hear your feedback, your views. This is a pretty controversial topic. Both ways,
Yeah.
both ways. There's no right or wrong, or maybe there is, but we want to hear what you think.
Yeah. We're only scratching the surface for sure.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think that was a lot of AI for today, but I think that was good.
I agree. All right. Well, I guess until next time, then and then like Jason said, if you got something to say, we want to hear it. This is not only a A-B conversation. We want you to see your way into it.
Yeah, that's one thing we're hoping with this podcast is we want to make it more interactive. So trajectoryglobal.com, we've got a way to make it interactive, and you can participate in it. Um, but yeah, keep checking back to see more episodes. We'll have guests. We'll have topics that really we think are going to be relevant. That's going to impact your life, and that's what it's all about.
improve the trajectory of your or someone else's life. That is what we're about. So right now we're talking about AI. It could be, I mean, God only knows what, there's so many different things and paths that we can run. So we need your help.
Absolutely. And the whole idea, and even the book that we put out, bestseller, by the way, Trajectory Volume 1, is that, it's collection of stories, knowledge, or experiences that can improve the trajectory of someone's life. So if you think you have something that could do that, please reach out. We want to talk to you. We want to share your story, get you on the podcast, introduce you to the community. And yeah, there's a lot of things we could do from there.
Awesome. Well, good job, Jason, for our first official Trajectory podcast.
All right, Scotty. Yeah, thanks. That was fun. All
All
right.
right, man.
Yeah.
I'll see you in a few minutes.
Yep.
Later.